Hello, my name is Chevalier. Welcome back for another episode of Territory as Persia. In previous episode, we did expand a little bit down here. Russia turns us into a protectorate, which does mean that we don't need to pay them anything, but they will be probably calling us into a lot of unnecessary wars, which I do not really want to take part on. But we are increasing our construction speed a little bit. Admittedly, that is going to be a bit expensive for us, but that will hopefully still help us getting through a bit more things. The iron mines are in Iraq, or our capital rather, are going to be done soon. We're also getting an opium plantation in there, which should have a fairly good profitability. Let's actually have a look. How much are we... Yeah, there's 800 dividends, so that should be about 200 that we get per level over there. For the state dividends right now, which, you know, it's not massive, but it does help. And we're paying 15,000 for the construction side of things. Oh, and there's a dye plantation in Arabistan. Okay. We did get the textile mill up here, at least, built, so that does offer some decent clothing options, I suppose. We did get the railways. Now we're working on the field works, which is going to take a little while. That's going to get the army defense up, at least. And then, right, crystal glass is still going to take a little while. We don't actually need to use that much glass, though. Not yet, at least. But I'm hoping that once the standard of living keeps increasing, hopefully, there will be a bit more demand for it. Actually, let me double check that. The glass, that is used as a... Okay, level 10 or higher as a household item. Furniture, it's a bit more effective than furniture. There's also paper that is kind of replacement for furniture as a household item. And then there's some buildings that use that as a input. Ah, there we go. We're getting the coal mine in our capital as well to reduce the steel production costs. Which right now there's still a lot of demand for steel, but we do actually produce quite a bit of it. How's the motor industries right now? There's not a huge demand for the engines yet, but that will be changing a lot in the near to distant future. We are at 11 million in GDP now. We haven't quite overtaken... Oh, actually, we have overtaken Confederates and Mexico. We have not caught up with Spain yet, but I think we will probably catch up to them soon enough. We are... Oh, Russia's improving relations. Okay, well, that's going to mean that our relations will improve with them very, very slowly. We've got poor relations with them, which does mean that our liberty side is... well, it's still going down, but not that much. Oh, it looks like the private sector is building the cotton plantation now in Hazaristan. And then wheat farm in Khorasan, and then another cotton plantation. So they're building a lot of agricultural stuff. I suppose that's part of the reason, because we've got the traditionalism. They will probably not be building that much industry. Some industries for sure, but not that much. I suppose there's also demand for a lot of things in the market itself right now. Steel is a massive demand right now, actually. Another one is coal. Opium is in a huge demand, of course, as per usual. Fertilizers are in pretty high demand. So the fertilizer plant in Fars will be quite useful, especially since there is a lot of agriculture room over here. So we will need a decent bit of fertilizer just for that. Oh, we started building the railway already. The coal mine will be built in 9 weeks, then the railway will be built soon after that. After that, we'll also start working on the iron mines already in Fars, but we'll make sure to build the railways first before we switch the road maintenance thing down that way. Are they building two tobacco plantations in Khorasan? Okay, is the infrastructure levels there sufficient? They are still sufficient. There's also a lot of peasants available. Also, right, that is by... The wheat farm is built by our private sector. And then there's the Russians building the tobacco plantations, which I suppose if there is a huge demand... Well, there's not that much demand in the Russian market, to be fair. Price is already pretty low, all things considered. But yeah, the market access are pretty rough for the time being. Our GDP is still going to hopefully increase a lot. We do need to get a bit more bureaucracy, most likely. How's the paper price up here? It's not the worst. Could probably get another logging camp over here. In Far to get that paper mill price or production cost a bit less. Then we might go ahead and build another paper mill in here, in all fairness. Are we... Well, we're getting a little bit of money from there, but it's not that much. So we might want to reduce the... Well, the unrealized taxes isn't that much yet. But we do want to get the extra government administration, probably. We could, of course, get some more in our capital. It's not going to be too expensive right now. Although, once we do get the central archives, which is not... Oh, dialectics is already spreading. Well, that's going to be quite handy. That might actually get research before we even get to that point. Because the field works is going to take a while. I could just go for the dialectics directly. Because that is going to increase the research speed. I'm going to do that. Then we're going to go back to fieldworks, and then we'll get the baking powder. Increase the grocery production, which actually, how is the grocery availability right now? There's a decent bit of available, but we could always get some more. We've got no political movements right now. And I don't suppose if we were to change the government, we could just go with the landowners for a little bit. But that would probably reduce the loyalists and increase radicals right now, so it would be kind of a... probably in the negative, actually. And that's 25 weeks for the railway to build in our capital. We did get the coal mine there up and running, though. And that is hopefully putting out a lot of coal, which then makes the iron production a lot cheaper. We could probably go ahead and privatize the iron mine, as well as probably the coal mine, even. We don't actually need to hold on to those. We just want to make sure that there is some of the production going on, and we can get some of the money back from the construction side of things. I believe it's, what, 100,000 per level, I think? Yeah, 100,000 per level. Which, you know, it's a decent amount. We already got 500,000, though. So we could... oh, right, we got a little bit infamy. Once the infamy is done, we might go for Kabul and start expanding a bit further down that way. I do actually wonder, so we probably want to go for Hazaristan. It's not a huge amount of infamy. No one else would necessarily join in the war, including on our side, to be fair. So we could at least get that one. That is going to be probably a lot of infamy, though. Too much to get the Kabulistan without risking going over the first threshold. And I'm going to try to stay below that as much as possible. Iron price is still pretty massive. I mean, I suppose another thing... well, we've got such a huge amount of construction going on. We are gaining money, though. So we could potentially increase the construction... well, actually, we are going to be increasing the construction speed soon enough. So never mind. And I do want to get the railway built up here sooner rather than later. So we're going to just keep it as is. We're paying £20,000 per week for the construction. It's probably going to get us to, I don't know, 24,000 by the time we get the other construction section, but the extra iron that we'll be producing will hopefully reduce the, or keep the price at least somewhat reasonable. It will still be a lot of money, mind you. We're going to start reducing some of the extra costs, and of course, forest is something that we are going to build a lot into, so we want to have some of the extra construction sector, or the construction efficiency in here. Currently, say construction efficiency is going to be 0.4, okay. So it's actually not as much as I was hoping for, but it will be still better than nothing. How's the turmoil looking like? So Balochistan, that's below 50% at least. That one doesn't have any. Northern Balochistan is 46%. And then Hazaristan doesn't have any. Okay, play for power. Sure, we'll boost the petty bourgeoisie even further, I guess. That does eat into the landowners' clout a bit further, which does mean that the leverage that the Russians have on us will be reduced a bit further as well. It's still 122, though, in their favor, which is not exactly great, but that is the lowest that they have in the block here. We're keeping good relations with both Britain and, I suppose, to some degree, Great Qing, because they are supporting our independence, and we should be able to hold on to that, hopefully. Is there anyone that we could request embassy with? Britain, maybe. 60% chance if we offer obligation. That might not happen. If they decline that, it's going to hurt the relations quite a bit. I'm going to hold off on that one for now. But getting embassies will hopefully get us a bit of recognition. I don't know if it's going to be enough to get a proper recognition yet or not, but we'll figure out, I suppose. Standard of living is now 8.7, so that's the highest it's been. We've got 11 million in population, which is not too bad either. Oh, looks like Ottoman Empire is getting a bit occupied in here. Are they fighting a big war by chance? They're fighting Egypt and Austro-Hungary. Okay, well, that makes a lot of sense. Right, so yeah, they're getting occupied pretty hard over here by Austrians. And then Egypt has been able to then push forward because of that. Oh, well, there we go. Colonial affairs is now down. So what I could do is I could actually go ahead and incorporate some more states. I'm going to go ahead and incorporate the one down in the south. And then maybe both of these in the north. That doesn't mean that we have a lot of extra bureaucracy available right now, but that's going to be fine. These aren't necessarily very high priority, mind you, but, you know, getting those sorted out at least will help the local population eventually. Ooh, and there's the crystal class. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and utilize the crystal class production up here. That reduces the wood uses a bit further. Now, there is going to be a bit more lead needed then. Speaking of which, we've got a lead mine in here, actually. We're going to go ahead and use the coal there to increase the production. At least a tiny bit. Oh, nitroglycerin spreading. Okay, well, that's kind of useful. We don't actually need it too desperately yet. The railway in our capital is about to be completed. That is just 1 week away. At this point, I'm going to go ahead and remove the road maintenance there and put that in forest to make sure that the construction over there is going to be slightly faster. Because this one's going to be completed anyway. And there we go. Now it's going full speed ahead with the iron mine. And the railway hopefully will be profitable. And the transportation price isn't massive. So I suppose it is good enough. I suppose one of the things that I could do, if the transportation price starts to go down a lot, we can remove the public trams over here. Because that's going to reduce the total amount of engines needed by 4. Actually, almost 5. It will reduce the services maybe a little bit. Yeah, that's actually going to be making it a bit more profitable, so we'll do that. And the railway up here should be at least somewhat profitable. Not necessarily fully, but I'm sure that that will help with the transportation costs at least. They can keep on increasing the production. The coal, or not the coal, the iron mine in Fars is close to completion. I'm just going to double check that that will be using atmospheric pump, so we can get the iron price being as low as possible. It will increase the demand for coal, which is a bit unfortunate. Oh, we're getting a furniture manufacturer in Ormia. That's over here in the western, or northwestern areas of our nation. Then an iron mine in our capital, and a rice farm in Mazandaran. Okay. That reminds me, are we using the, Oh yeah, we're using the soil enriching stuff already. That reminds me, what do we need at the fertilizer plant again? It is iron and sulfur, so that's going to be perfect for farms actually, because they can produce both of them. Not necessarily a huge amount of iron, but sulfur they can produce a huge amount actually. And we are making more money. We've got 700,000 already. We have no infamy. So we could go ahead and potentially push Kabul for a bit of a ceding state to us. They got quite a bit of armies there, so I'm going to not do that quite yet. I'm about to get the dialectics, so we can get the... Oh, actually, that's something that we need to increase, is more paper mill up here. That's going to be probably quite profitable soon enough. I'm going to go ahead and get the logging camp up here already. While the railways are going to be built, I think focusing on Fars now that we got the edict in there is probably going to be a good idea. Oh, and there's the dialectics. Now let's go ahead and improve the... Oh, right, we could put the class of wood over there on all of them, including Persian Balochistan and then philosophy department. That's going to be a lot more paper needed, but that's also going to be quite a bit more innovation, and that's going to be actually a pretty large boost there. Well, okay, it's now 68, we might need to get a bit more of that, but that's already getting the field works in 2 years now. Then after that, I guess we can go back to... Actually, what's it spreading in society now? Central Archives, that would be good for the extra taxes, as well as the standardized filing system, so extra bureaucracy. I suppose we could go for that one. If we get there in time. I suppose that might be spreading already before that. Oh, well, there we go. The fertilizer plant is going to be done in 29 weeks. We did get the construction speed already increased. That's probably going to cost us a little bit extra. But I'm sure that that will, you know, over time be just fine. The increase in costs will hopefully be kept in check for the most part. We are getting the extra logging camp in here already. And did we have anything else that we could maybe... The iron mines we could probably go ahead and sell, actually. Privatize that. There's going to be a huge demand for it anyway. Or a decent demand for it anyway. To keep the amount that we need to cover for somewhat under control. We can also go ahead and privatize a bit more of the paper mills there. While they do have a decent profitability, we don't actually want to use all the bureaucracy that we're currently spending already. Let's have a double check on the building registry as well. I'm going to pause for a moment while we do... Oh, the cotton plantations we definitely don't need to hold on to. Or the dye plantations. Furniture manufacturing probably don't need to hold on to. They can get better productivity. The iron mines we can probably sell. The lead mines we can probably sell. The motor industry we'll probably hold on to for now, because they will be quite useful in the long run. But there we go, so that should start fixing the bureaucracy issues. We'll get a lot more money. We already got about 1 million, actually. We're not getting a huge income right now, and of course once we sell the things, we're not going to get quite as much dividends. But it does mean that we don't need to pay for the bureaucracy costs for the stuff, and overall it's going to save us in some aspects. Of course, you know, total amount of money might be slightly less. If we just increase the bureaucracy, we could just hold on to more stuff. But we do have the 2 levels of opium plantation in our capital, and the weekly balance is massive. Dividends are also quite massive, actually. That's well over, I don't know, 450 just from there. So if we have a look at the government dividends, that's, yeah, 1,200 from opium plantations. That's not bad. We're getting the fertilizer plant over here in Fars underway. That is already, well, it's not quite halfway done, but it's getting pretty close to that. Just 2 more weeks and it will be more than halfway done. And the logging camp is also underway already. It's not initially massive speed, but it's okay. Now the private sector can also use 10 points per week to construct, although right now it's reduced a little bit in Ormia. Because, you know, there's a lot of mountains in here. It does complicate the construction process a bit. Literacy rate is improving. Standard of living is, well, it's been a bit stable right now. How is our liberty desire? It's still pretty high. Is there anything else that I could do? No, I could demand the legitimacy boost, but I'm not going to do that. Demanding states is probably not going to go all that well. If we were to demand independence, our side would be somewhat advantageous in there. Because our side does have about 360 battalions. Of course, conscripts are going to be a different thing. I don't have any conscript battalions set up yet. I probably could do that to make sure that once we do start fighting, we'll have a bit better chance of surviving, really. I'm not going to do that quite yet, I don't think. We are probably going to go ahead and advance a bit further to the east soon. How's the construction side of things? So we still got quite a bit of work to do. Especially the railways to fix the market access a bit further. Oh, and we have no general in the first army. Okay, well, we could get the... I suppose the landowner will have... Or the clergy will have to do. With the defense front there. We do have 117 prestige, which is actually not that bad. I mean, you know, it could be a lot better, mind you, but it's a start. And we are above Belgium still in the GDP side of things, so we are... Are we number 15? 13, actually. Oh. Yeah, we've gone past Confederates, which might be actually at war right now. Yeah, they're fighting a war against the USA. So there goes that. But yeah, so we are slowly catching up to some of the other nations in here, although there's still quite a difference between us and Russia, for example. They got almost 4 times the GDP. So that is making our, well, limited side to go down a decent bit. It's not a massive amount, mind you. Actually, yeah, they get the +1 from the GDP. And then they own a little bit of our GDP, so they get a little bit of points there. We are buying a lot of stuff from Russia, so that, well, it's a bit of a problem. Now we're losing a bit of money right now, actually, but we've still got almost 1 million in cash reserves, so that's not too bad. The fertilizer plant is, it's coming along quite nicely, actually. And then we've got the GDP, which we will hopefully get that growing a bit further. The litter rate is at least improving. We do need to also, I suppose, once we get the Central Archives, that's going to allow us to probably get the education investment to be... Actually, it can go up to level 3 already. That would be an extra 200 bureaucracy, though. So that's going to have to wait, I'm afraid. But we will get that eventually. Fertilizer plant in Fars is almost completed. And that will... I suppose there is probably a decent bit of demand for fertilizer already. It's minus 33 right now, so yeah, that will be fine. We've got quite a bit of wheat farms in here, which will definitely be utilising that. Actually, speaking of which, we can probably privatise the wheat farms in there. Don't really need to be holding on to those. And there we go. The fertilizer plant in Fars is now complete. That is owned by the state. And it seems like it would be fairly profitable. Right now, it's not making a huge amount of money, of course. But it will be probably in quite high demand in the long run. So we're going to hold on to that. The logging camp is almost done in there. And we're also working on the paper mill in there now. That's going to be done in 23 weeks. And then we're already starting on the railway works. So once we get all of that, we might increase the army size a little bit. And then do the war against Kabul. To at least get Hazaristan in our control, and then maybe, I suppose, do we have a truce with Kalat still? No, we don't. So we could potentially go out and just conquer that as well. Get a bit more ground in here. Combine this entire state for us. And then get a little bit more ground over there. We could, actually, could potentially go for Balochistan first, or Kalat. Or fight Kalat first and get Balochistan. And then we're going to take from Kabul, we're going to take both Hazaristan and Quetta. And then I suppose the war against Kandahar could allow us to take both of these. And then Kabulistan, or Kabul is only reduced to 2 states there, then perhaps. Well, Sikh Empire might be a potential enemy as well. But yeah, if we can start pushing in there. Actually, one of the things that I haven't really kept much of attention right now, despite it being one of our main goals, we are number 4 producer of opium. If we were to increase the opium production just a little bit, we could get the extra prestige from it. That could be useful. Where do we have... Actually, let's have a look at the productions. Opium plantation. Where is the best earnings? Khorasan would be the highest, but there's not necessarily enough qualifications. Isfahan doesn't... Oh, right, yeah, we could have a lot of building levels in there. They are lacking a bit of infrastructure, though, but I suppose we are working on the railway there already. That would be a fairly good profitability. No, we'll build one there. It should be a fairly good amount of productivity over time. I'm going to go ahead and get that opium plantation built after the railway, actually. Because once the paper mill is done, we'll switch the edict from Fars into Isfahan. We can get those 2 buildings done, then we can go to Kerman, and then to Bampur, Little by little, getting more and more. Opium is in massive demand. Engines are in pretty high demand now as well, so I'm guessing the motor industries up here are... Well, yeah, ooh, the iron price, or the steel price rather, is pretty high demand. We might want to get more steel production up here. We've got plenty of iron mines. Actually, that's private sector building another one, isn't it? Or is that even... No, it's not foreign quarters, so it must be private sector. Yeah, it will be built after the furniture manufactory, though. And that's going to take a little bit longer. There's a bit of fight... Oh, there's another revolution in need. I'm leaning towards... I'm going to declare neutrality in there. Don't think I'm really needed in there. Oh, looks like... Russia is going for a bit of war up here. Oh, they're already at war. Okay, so I don't think they'll need us for that one. Luckily. Ammunition is pretty high demand. Oh, groceries are starting to be pretty high demand in the market as well. So that's another thing that we could probably go ahead and get a food industry up here. I think this would be a good location for it. It would be a pretty good profitability. Yeah, just a few more weeks for the paper mills. So that's going to be pretty nice. I'm hoping that that will be enough. We've still got a lot of radicals, mind you. And we don't really have a lot of things. Actually, if we were to change the government a little bit. No, that wouldn't really be all that great for us. And if we have a look at the... hold on a minute. Agrarianism, there is the rural folk and industrialists that would support that. But neither one is particularly strong. Landowners are still fairly strong. So that's a bit of a problem for us there. Oh, but there we go. The paper mill in Fars, I think, just got sold. It's got a decent profitability, I suppose. The extra level over there will definitely help us increase the productivity. Or production overall, and then thus reduce the actual... Let's have a look at the budget a little bit briefly. So the government wages is pretty high. We could potentially reduce the army wages a little bit. Save us a bit of money over there. So the goods, so paper price is pretty high though. And it's mostly the government administration and universities that are costing us there. Which makes sense. The clippers aren't really that expensive. Goods for military buildings is... Okay, the small arms are quite expensive, but we do produce a decent bit of that, I reckon. So much so that it's actually very low price, at least locally in here. I don't know, how about the market? Yeah, there's plenty in the market in general as well. So yeah, that's not really going to be a huge money maker for us. Now we can go ahead and cancel the road maintenance there and put that in Isfahan. That's going to fix the infrastructure problems there for... Oh, Fars is having some infrastructure issues now, is it? So they are, okay. Well, let's go ahead and build a railway up there then. Or we could build a port, I suppose. And then maybe a railway as well, just in case. Not going to start working on those quite yet. We'll work these two first, so Isfahan is going to be in a much better state. And, okay, we're down to 11.2 million GDP. I mean, we're at 11.8 at the highest point, so it hasn't dropped that much yet. And now we're getting the iron mine in our capital. Excellent. There's going to be a textile mill in Arabistan again. Well, I mean, this is actually going to be a pretty good place for it, because we can get silk plantation and cotton plantations in here in large quantities. We've got still a decent bit of workers available as well. So it is making good profitability. Oh, and France is improving relations because they are protected. Oh, would they be perhaps willing to support my independence then? No, they would not. Okay, and then let's have a look at the options for embassies. No, Great Britain is still one that could perhaps accept that, but the likelihood is not very high. Okay, well, in that case, we're not going to do that one. So earning recognition is going to have to wait. I do actually wonder, so what do we have here? Atmospheric engine. You know what, at this point, we're going to go through all the mines. I'll start switching those on. Even if it's not fully profitable, we're going to do that anyway. Also, we've got 2 artillery foundries. I forgot about that. Wheat farms, I suppose we have gotten a bit more fertilizer, don't we? It might not be fully profitable, but we're going to do that anyway. Livestock ranches, we can go for the butchering tools. And we'll also go for the increased wool gathering. There we go. And sulfur mines will get the atmospheric engine pump as well. There we go. So that might fix the thing, or get us the atmospheric engine at least. Branching out, that's going to require a bit more rail transportation to use. That might not happen. Steam engine times... Right, so we need to get motor industries to level 3. Philosophy department, we need to get a level 5 university. Which that is actually something we could do relatively easily. So yeah, we'll just go through the construction as is. We're not necessarily going to do too much reorganizing there. The railways we're building in large quantities, that's hopefully going to help us a lot in the long run. And of course get those 2 universities, that should get us to like 74, maybe 75 almost in innovation. Which we could have up to 96, so we've got a lot of room to improve there. But right now the paper cost is going to be quite significant, so I don't want to go too heavy in there, but we'll slowly increase the numbers. Right, well, we've got the military pretty much all good. I do actually wonder, so Balochistan, if we were to do a quick little war against you, conquer state, you would probably not get any help. We might have Russia helping us. You've got quite a small army, so yeah, we're going to go ahead and conquer that, shall we? That's going to give us control of all of this state. That's going to be a lot of agriculture, some textiles, even some iron mining in here, actually. A lot of trade going on as well. Actually, speaking of trade, how are we looking on our trade routes right now? We've still got... Okay, we don't really need to do that one. I'm going to go ahead and maybe... Oh, wow, there's a lot of grain that is needed. And clothing. We could also go ahead and export some things like luxury furniture or... Okay, there's a requirement for import of opium. Okay, we're not necessarily going to do that. Might just build up more opium. Coal is something we could maybe import from... Oh, from the Austro-Hungarians. That would be a lot of money. Well, it's not necessarily that much, but yeah, that would probably help a decent bit. Does that... Oh, that does cost us... Oh, and political lobby formed. Right. Anti-Ottoman raid. Okay. Right, they refused the demand. Right, they're getting troops ready already. I don't suppose I could really do too much, so I'm just going to go ahead and activate one of the armies. This is going to cost us. So, actually, no, we're going to wait until we get to the proper sort of maneuvering phase. And then we're going to activate this army to send it over there to defend initially. They might give up already. I think they're uncertain right now. Once we get some troops in there ready... You know what, we're going to go mobilize that already. Close enough. Because if they give up, that's going to be totally fine by me. Oh, Bukhara is in true relations, okay. But like, honestly, one army might be already enough to defeat them. Their army is mostly irregulars. Looks like GDP is increasing a little bit. Yeah, I suppose standard of living hasn't really increased too much yet. Population is slowly climbing up. Didar's Candle. Who is this from? You're a royalist. I'm going to force you to step down. So we get a new leader over here. Abolition. Oh. That means that we could actually start pushing for the slavery ban. That would, yeah, landowners would oppose that quite greatly, but there is a chance that we could then pass that. I'm not going to do that quite yet, though. Let the things sort of... So, actually, I do wonder. The slave trade, does that increase the... Oh, yeah, landowners' political strength is increased drastically because of that. Landowners would get really upset because of that. But not radicalized. You know what, we're going to go ahead and try to push for that. And there's 22% chance. It could pass, you know. The army is now approaching the front line. We might need to activate the second army just to force them to step down. But that does mean that they'll just get annexed at that point, so they are less likely to do so. This will cost us a little bit extra, but we've got a decent cash reserves right now. We've got 1.5 million. We can afford losing a little bit. And, well, we're losing a bit of cash in the meanwhile. The opium plantation and railway in Isfahan are almost completed. Then we're going to start switching that to Kerman to get the railway built there slightly faster. And it's quite likely that we will win this war. They don't have anyone supporting them. We've got Russia leading towards me, but everyone's going to start just backing down from this at this point. But actually, before we get to the war, I do see that we are actually out of time for this episode. So if you enjoyed this, please like and subscribe if you haven't already. I'll get the links down below in the description. But other than that, thank you very much for watching. Until next time, bye-bye.